My name is Veronica Adali. I'm a CEO of a modest activewear brand, Fifth Generation Apparel, a content creator, and photographer. I've been through the trenches of entrepreneurship, and now I'm sharing my story. I'm here to empower and help you work towards your dreams. Whether that means becoming a successful entrepreneur, up-leveling your mindset, or creating impactful content online. I create educational and motivational videos full of practical advice for women who are ready to have more control over their lives and are looking to follow their true passion. If you're ready to learn, get inspired, then listen up, my friend. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a very exciting and amazing guest who is also my friend, and I can't wait for you guys to meet her. I've wanted to do this for a hot minute, and I'm so happy that it's finally happening. But guys, I have Asheera with me here. She is the author and illustrator of the Souk Surprise, which is the first book in the Nomadic Storyteller series. She's a New Zealand-born Kiwi with a strong passion for traveling. She's also a trained teacher, and she started writing books just because she really wanted to see a lot of diverse perspectives available for our children. She's my friend, she's a mom, she's a content creator, and she's also documenting her homeschooling journey with her son. Welcome to the show, Asheera.
Veronica, oh my goodness, your intro is going to make me cry. There's too many compliments in that.
I meant every single word.
It's an honor, honestly. It's such an honor to be part of your content creating journey as well. And I love everything you're doing. You're definitely one of my biggest inspirations as well out there. And I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of women all around the world at the moment with what you're doing, mashallah. So,
Jazakallah khair. Let's do a quick backstory of how we actually met, because we are friends in real life, and we met on Instagram when Asheera was living in Qatar.
Yeah.
So, and then we met when you were here, we found each other when you were in Qatar, then you moved to Australia, and then on the holiday in New Zealand, we caught up, and then, we became friends after that.
And the time which I've been, the times which I've come here, I can't believe it's actually been a couple of years since I did reach out to you on Instagram, because I was so amazed with what you were doing, especially with the activewear, because I know my entire life I've been struggling with activewear, and so I was really interested in what you were going to create. I think you had just started your Instagram as well. You don't have any of the items out and stuff. You're still in the designing process, so it was very cool. And then we just connected from there, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. And then you've actually been one of the biggest supporters, like from the very beginning. You've always supported my business, and like I can't, explain, I can't even describe how amazing it feels to have such supportive friends.
I was almost going to wear it in the interview as well. It's my daily wear, but I thought I should probably wear something a bit more formal.
Oh, well, let's dive right into it. Today, I really want to focus on your creative journey, of your writing journey, of your publishing journey, illustrating journey, all of the journeys that come along with that. But I would love to start with, asking you about your writing process. Like, you got the idea. How did you come up with the story, and how many drafts you did? Like, spill it all.
So it's actually quite an interesting journey. I don't think I've actually even shared it from the very beginning. So I actually thought of it in the shower. I literally, this is when I was in Qatar, in Doha, and I ran out of the shower, and I was like, Zaid, my husband, I've got a brilliant idea. I love writing. I love drawing. I don't really know how to draw, but I love drawing. I love traveling. How about I just combine it all and create a kids series, and for my own children and for other children out there. And so he was very supportive of it and stuff. He was like, just go for it. And so what I actually started doing was I went into the school library, which I was working at, because I was living on campus at that time. Literally my house is right next to the school. I just have to go around the gate to get it. And so I would I went and collected a whole lot of other books, and I started doing book reviews. And I did a course as well on how to like dissect other books to kind of like see what the writing style was like, and like what kind of illustrations were there, because illustrators kind of like stick to different art techniques. And some might be digital, some might be hand-drawn. So it was kind of like, there's so many choices, even how many pages. So I sat there in the weekend with about like 20 books piled on the coffee table, and I just went through each one, and I did an Excel spreadsheet, wrote down how many pages each one was, what kind of illustration style they used, whether it was like a whimsical story. And so yeah, so it was research. The first part was research, and then after that I actually wrote the story in 10 minutes. Wow. I think about like 10 to 20 minutes, I like sat there and I just wrote the story. So that was probably the easiest part. I don't know if it's because naturally I enjoy writing, and it comes, especially like since I've written poetry since I was very young, it kind of came kind of naturally to me. So once I did the first draft, then the reviewing of it and trying to like make it have more interesting words, and especially because my target audience was the year group which I was teaching, which is like new entrants, year one, like 5-year-olds, 4, 5, 6-year-olds. Yeah, so I obviously, being a teacher and reading books to them, I kind of had an idea of what my kind of favorite books were, and books that were like Very Hungry Caterpillar. That's a book we all love growing up, and like seeing what made that book successful. So after I did my research, and then I did the draft, and I actually did a PowerPoint with real life pictures, and then I went and read it to my class. So no one knew about this. So in one of my classes, because like one thing which my husband always encourages me to do is like he always says to test your idea first before going along with it, just to make sure it's not. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll test it with my class to see what they think of the story and stuff like that. And so I did it, and they really enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, sweet, I can start learning how to draw. So so I mean, I've loved art my entire life. I never had gone to like any professional art schools or anything like that. Everything was self-taught until I actually got to Qatar. Then I did attend an art school, but that was more traditional pottery and calligraphy and stuff like that. So the actual drawing and painting and stuff like that was self-taught. So I actually started off with doing the sketches in the sketchbook here, which I'm very lucky.
You have the goods here.
And I don't know why I felt like I needed to take it out before packing for our next trip. So yeah, you got called lucky. So,
getting an exclusive here.
You are. So it literally started off with me just experimenting with, because Morocco was my favorite place, one of my favorite places that I had traveled to. It was one of the first places I went to with my husband, and so that's where I wanted to start. And we traveled a lot of Morocco. We rented a car and drove. It was one of the craziest experiences. So I wanted to start there. So I did looked at some of my old photography. I'm not the most expert photographer, unlike you, but it was enough for me to kind of get an idea of what I wanted. So that's actually the very first page of the book. So that's how it started. And then, let's see, that's how it came out. Oh, wait, give me a second. So that page is that page there. So agree?
Yes.
So yeah, it took me 2 years because of the drawing, because I self-taught myself how to do all the drawing and stuff. So that's how it came. So yeah, so I started with hand drawing everything. I looked at all the different doors. So for some reason I love taking photos of doors and windows and anything symmetrical, especially in those countries.
They're beautiful. The architecture there is beautiful.
It is. It's so inspirational, and it's all Islamically inspired as well.
Yeah.
And so I annotated them. I looked at the different kinds of tiles they have. Yeah, and then so this is, I even labeled it. This is a mosque in Tangier. It's one of the cities just before you cross over the water to get to Spain. And then all the lanterns as well. So that page there is, let me find it. So yeah, so that's how it started off. One thing, this book has a lot of pages.
It does. It does. It takes me like a little while to get through it with my son, but he loves it.
So yeah, so that draft there then became this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, so and then let's show another example. That's the sketch. Where is it? Sorry, so many pages. Oh yeah. So this is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, look at the
and we bought a
colors.
lot of little tagines and stuff like that as well when we came back. So yeah, so that was the drawing process. And before when I had done everything by hand, I didn't like it. And at that time I was actually in Australia and I was teaching. And so as soon as I finished work and like went for a run and all that sort of stuff, then I would sit down and draw. And I just didn't like it. I almost gave up. I was like, I don't know how to draw. I can't do this. And then I was like, okay, let me try doing it digitally. And so then I drew everything digitally. And so this was what the sketches digitally then looked like. Yeah. So that's why it took me really, really long. I think if I did it now, it definitely wouldn't take that long.
Yeah. That's what happens when you do it for the first time. That's quite a big undertaking.
Yeah. So that was the writing process. As you can see, the writing process was actually quite short. The drawing process was very, very long. Yeah.
Have you ever considered outsourcing the drawing, or you really wanted to have like you in the book?
So I did at that point when I couldn't do it after I did like the hand sketches, because I wanted it to be like quite artistic. And so at that point I looked at some examples of what they had, like of their own work, not of like from my book, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it, and I didn't see, I think because for me, I really, at that point, like I wasn't pregnant or anything like that, but I really wanted it to be for my children. And I wanted to try to do it from beginning to end because I love drawing. I've loved drawing, and I've always wanted to like go to an art school professionally and try to and learn more about it. So I was really determined to sit there and learn. And so I tried again and I did it. So
and you got it done.
And eventually I got it done. Yeah.
Yeah, I like you when you say like, oh, you wanted to learn how to draw. I can definitely relate to that. That's how I started my business with, drawing my own thing as well. But I did give up in the end. I did launch a couple of collections doing it all myself, but now I don't do it anymore, and I'm so grateful I don't have to.
Yes, it's definitely like, especially when you're weighing up what other things you needed to do as well.
Yeah.
Some skills are worth teaching yourself, self-teaching yourself, and others are better to outsource it. And I think the only reason why I plunged through self-teaching myself is because I've always been passionate about art. And I mean, I did science all the way through high school. I did science, like my Bachelor of Science and stuff. So the creative part was always a hobby. And I think, especially with creatives, like society always tell you that art is just a hobby. Art's not going to make you money. Art's like, and so that kind of always gets in your head, and so it becomes very low in the priority of what you've got to do. And so I was kind of like, no, I don't care. I'm going to do it because I want it for my children. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And now you have this beautiful book that you've created from scratch on your own, and that's amazing, mashallah. I would like to talk to you more about the challenges that you faced bringing the book to light.
Yeah. So one of the challenges, other than like the illustrating part, it was actually then formatting it. So I'm not one who was familiar with things like InDesign and Photoshop, and so I initially did the whole thing on, I think it was a PowerPoint. And then like, and this is where, for example, you got to get the book dimensions right, because I was self-publishing on Amazon and Kindle on Amazon, and they're very like nitty-gritty with the dimensions. It's like having like the margin and making sure like the fonts weren't going to get cut off, making sure the images weren't going to get cut off. So that itself just having that and then putting on InDesign and just putting it through Kindle, getting it rejected, putting it through again, just because the measurements weren't right. And it was so frustrating that even when we were in Queenstown, I was there and I was like, let me just take it to a printing company and see. And so then they even like the measurements they gave me, once they formatted it, that didn't even get accepted by Amazon. And it was you'd be like a couple of millimeters off. And so it was just a bunch of trial and error, and I still struggle with it. So that was one of the challenges. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's just because their system is, I think it's like obviously automated when you put in your files, and then they have to see whether it's going to come out correctly. They don't like if you're going to have it with bleed, without bleed. That means like if you want the pictures to cover the entire page, or if you want like a white part around the side. Yeah. Oh, and actually the other part that came out as well was, I think, my first, because I didn't know that I could change the quality of the images on my iPad. And so all my initial images were of a lower quality. So then I had to go then and then adjust the quality to the correct pixels and then upload it again. So that whole process there was quite challenging. Yeah.
Wow, it does. Technical things. Sometimes they just doesn't go according to plan. And it's just so frustrating, but you got there in the end. Well, other than this, how did you find, self-publishing through Amazon? Was like, besides the uploading files, was it relatively easy and, attainable for, other people to use?
Yes. So the actual process of, like, if you had the dimensions correct, the actual process of uploading it is very easy. Like over here in New Zealand, you're able to get your ISBN number for free from the library in Wellington, the National Library, as long as you give them a book in return. So I think we're quite fortunate here that we have that, whereas I think in America and other places you have to purchase it. And so that part, once you like have that, you press it, you add the barcode at the back of your book. It's like an uploading. You're uploading keywords, you're uploading the author, the ISBN, like all of these sorts of things. That process is very easy. However, what I didn't know beforehand, which I think has kind of had a rippling effect now, is I didn't know that kind of before uploading it to Amazon, you kind of need to create a hype in Amazon. Otherwise, it kind of gets swallowed with all of the other books there. And so having like, for example, having people who already have received the books before you launch the book on Amazon, who are then able to immediately review it. And then after that to have like ads that are going, that part there is the part which I had no idea about. Yeah. And so I think that's definitely something which I would kind of do first. I would probably do that first next time, probably gift the book to like my friends and family, to other people, like especially like maybe people on my social media and stuff like that, and then have reviews up there, and then have the book launch, and then have the ads ongoing from there. Because Amazon's such a big platform, and I think it just gets lost if you don't follow those steps afterwards, or in this case, to have done beforehand. Yeah,
this is very, very interesting. And I think a lot of us, like I've definitely faced that in my business as well. I thought way back when I started that you need to have a great product. Yes, you do need to. If you have not a great product, you will still have trouble selling it. But if you have, it's just such a small part of the entire process. Marketing, and all sorts of different marketing, organic marketing, paid marketing, lead marketing, all sorts of different marketing types that you need to implement. And also your marketing budget should, like a lot of, when I analyze other companies and other, successful businesses, their marketing budget is pretty much half of what you spent to bring the product and it's usually like a lot, and that's what it takes. You need to spend money to make money, and it's just,
that's right.
I've also learned that, and like when I launched my business, my audience was 100 people, and obviously it transformed, translated in sales, and it's definitely been quite a journey. And like we talked about it offline as well, that it does, like, never underestimate how much marketing you need to do to,
Get out there,
to get your product out there. And also don't get discouraged, because we live in a world of social media where everyone is putting out their highlights reel. It is what it is. But a lot of the times we look at other people's journey and say, we find them at, at step 20, and you are at step -2 because of the setbacks you experience. And you look at them and you're like, well, they've done this and they're so successful. It must be what it's like. But it's far from the truth. It takes time and takes a lot of effort and a lot of investment, financial and time investment, to get to that stage. And I'm really trying to be as transparent as I can be these days, so I don't give out the wrong idea. I'll be like, no, if you see any sort of success that I'm experiencing, it's been, I took a lot of beating to get here. Let's put it that way. And we still and you never done. And like down the line, even if you are making consistent sales, you're still learning tough lessons daily.
Think of new ways to then market your product out there.
But we've talked about it offline, and I just it's just a matter of showing up and being long enough in the business and just sticking to it until you get it out there. And the thing is, your book, it's timeless. It's such a timeless, beautiful story. And, I really enjoy it. My son loves it. To this day, it's one of his favorite books. And he points at the boy, at Nadim, and he's like, Timur, that's Timur.
So sweet. Maybe the next one will have to be with him instead in Turkey. See, that was the main reason why I created, because seeing children are the most honest beings out there, and when they when they express their reflection of the story, and they actually let the eyes light up, they find it humorous, they connect with the characters, that's what it's all about. As a teacher, as a mom, even that's what you want to see in children's eyes, and so that's the biggest motivation. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, and also let's even touch more on diversity in literature, how important it is. And even when I look at my children, they're half Russian, they're half Turkish, and they're Kiwis.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there. They, have so much to their identity. And they're Muslim on top of everything. So they really need to see, themselves in books, which, sometimes with all of, the older books, it's hard to see that, and they just don't find them relatable.
Yeah. And so many lessons are taught through books as well.
Exactly.
And because children are able to connect with characters and with fictional stories, that's their way of learning.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's why it's very important for if you have that creative zest and you feel like you have a book in you, or you want to write children's stories or children's books. It's doable, especially in the 21st century. It's so much more doable now. Do it. And there are different ways you can do it. Like Asheera, you just have to go and do your research first and figure out what you want to do and find your vision. But I really admire how dedicated you were. You're like, no, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to make it happen for my boy, even though, he wasn't even in the picture back then.
He wasn't at that time. It was just my children, who my class children.
But yeah, that's amazing. Like, that's great. And I also want to comment a little bit how people might be like, oh, I'm not good at drawing, or I'm not good at writing. For example, I struggle with writing. It's my second language. Like, it's my second language. I love writing. I love talking about things. I love, writing scripts and posts and all of that stuff. I do use a writing tool to help me, because it is still my second language, but it doesn't mean I'm not gonna, yes, my English might not be perfect all of the time, and I might slip up, and, but it's still, I'm not gonna stop just because, it's my story to tell. And the same goes for you, like, you thought you were not good at drawing, and you struggled with it quite a bit, but you still, figured it out and taught yourself, and you're definitely way better. Well, you have a book to show for it. And now,
even like, because now when I do some illustrations and stuff like that, like, because I use Procreate on the iPad and stuff like that, like, I'm able to just interact with it so much more seamlessly. And so that's why for the next book, I'm just like, well, it's definitely going to take a lot shorter. It's not going to take 2 years. It might just take a couple of months. And it's just, so inshallah, the series will continue, and I've got a lot of cool stories based on my travel.
I can't wait to see it all. And the moral of the story, you don't have to be naturally talented at something to make it happen, and to, keep showing up and following your dreams, and just following through on the projects you want to do, because anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone who might be completely experienced at that skill, they might not have the perseverance to be able to follow through with what they want to achieve, compared to someone who has self-taught themselves the skill, and then has just been really perseverant to be able to show up and get up there through the end. So
exactly.
Underestimate your own grit.
Yeah, grit and hard work, they trumps all the talent.
And prayer.
That prayer. And you gotta have faith. Have faith, and just, keep on showing up and do your bit, and then just trust Allah to do the rest.
Word, sister.
Yeah. So you already mentioned that you self-published this book through Amazon, and you also done your own printing here in New Zealand as well, with a New Zealand company. So what are some of the benefits of self-publishing a book?
So I think some of the benefits of it is, the first obvious one being that you don't have someone else telling you what to do. And I mean, being like a creator, and when you create something, especially when it's like how you envisioned it to be, the illustrations are, especially because for me, I'm trying to literally replicate what's in my mind from my memory of that place I went. And so when you send it to a publishing company, not only do they charge like hefty fees for every single bit, but they also end up taking ownership of like some of the book as well. They can end up like telling you that this has to be changed, that has to be changed. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but if you're like very specific with how you want it to be, then self-publishing is the way to go. Yeah. And also the other benefit is that end up getting more reward. Mm-hmm. When you are self-publishing on Amazon, you'll get more return. Mm-hmm. Especially if, for example, you if you have got it on KDP, then you're able to get maybe like half of it back in terms of profit. Whereas if a self-publishing company, then they're going to then, for example, send it to Whitcoulls. Then Whitcoulls is going to sell it, and then by the time you actually get the profit, it's only like maybe $2
per book. Yeah.
And the other part, which I found, was especially when I was selling it directly, like at the markets, on my website, then it was more profitable that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's an entrepreneur in you.
I mean,
I think you're an entrepreneur first.
The main purpose of the book was for it to be lessons to children out there, but then for them to experience the journey of the story, not really for profit. Yeah. if you are trying to make a bit more reward, especially if you're quite new into this arena, then that's the way to go about it. And also, by the time you wait for, like, for example, the publishing company to get back with all the drafts, for them to then maybe send it out to other people, maybe if you're getting the printing overseas, and then waiting for the stock to come, that itself can take a long time. And actually, the other reason why I ended up self-publishing was because of COVID and lockdown. A lot of publishing companies in New Zealand who I wanted to approach were not taking in new scripts.
Oh yeah, they
had such a big backlog that because I wanted to initially take it to Penguins, and to Scholastic, because Scholastic is literally like 10 minutes from my house. and I bought all my books growing up from Scholastic, and Penguins as well is a very well-known publishing company, but they just weren't taking new scripts, and so I was kind of put in the situation to go about and do it myself.
So if you were to do it again, you'll do it yourself again?
I think I would do it again, but I would do the marketing right. I'll do the marketing right because at the moment with this book, I have to kind of rethink it. I think it's almost easier to create another book and then to have that book then kind of guide traffic to sell the first book. Yeah. So that's been one of the challenges at the moment. I think maybe once I had maybe 5 in my series, then I might take it to a publishing company, because a lot of publishing companies also want to see more than one book. They want to see kind of like your series. Oh yeah. And so they're more likely to kind of like invest in you if you have a series of 3, even the cover of the next 2 coming out. So but I would try, I'm keen to try to publish the next book, self-publish it, do the marketing right.
So you can go through that journey and that cycle and kind of work more things out.
Even just the keyword research, you have to go through such a thorough keyword research. I mean, there's courses out there just on how to make sure you've got the correct keywords for your ads for Amazon, for KDP on Amazon. So wow. I mean, if you for example, do ebook, that's the other thing. I was thinking, if I should do, not separate from my Nomadic Storyteller series, actual more small chapter books that don't have illustrations, then you could have that as an ebook, and that could be for young adults, for adults in general, where they might on their device, and that would be a lot faster way if you're a good writer to be able to get your book out there, if you do the marketing right, then that's another way.
Yeah, and it takes you 15 minutes to write a book, so
No, that was a children's book. That was a children's book. That's basically a song.
I just had to slide that joke in there.
That's because I used to write poetry when I was young to express my feelings or make me feel better.
Mashallah.
Yeah. But obviously, when people think about picture books and chapter books, some people might say, oh, it's a lot harder to write a chapter book because it's a whole lot more words. But actually, the thing with a picture book and a kid's book is that what you have to do is you have to write it so that half of the words are actually expressed through the illustrations. So it's kind of, there's more value in what you don't have in the story than what you have actually written down. Yeah.
Yes, I can definitely, because my son, he's almost 3. He's definitely not really focused on the words at all. I tried to read it to him, but he kind of takes over and he starts showing and describing what he sees and tells his own story through the pictures. Yes. So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, before I let you run away, I want to talk more about the advice you have, just one piece of advice for somebody who wants to do a picture book. Let's just put it that way.
For one piece of advice, I would say follow your intention. Follow your intention, because I think your intention behind the purpose of your book will guide how much grit you put into it, what kind of direction you want to take to it. I mean, some people just want to create the book for their own family. Others want it to reach the entire world. Others want it to guide people. So for any person who wants to write whatever kind of book, whether it's like a fiction, non-fiction, picture book, like a chapter book, follow your intention behind it. And yeah, follow your heart and enjoy it. I mean, it can be so tedious, so frustrating, but enjoy it. Yeah.
That's a beautiful message. And I'm just going to have one more cheeky question there. Do you know where the next book is going to be set? Or is it still under wraps?
I'm kind of just trying to decide between 3 countries. I kind of have a storyline in place for India and for Qatar. But because I am going on a new adventure, inshallah, next year, it might just be that place. It might be Turkey. So it's going to be between those 3. I mean, I have storylines for Qatar and for India, but yeah, it might be pretty cool if I do it in the place which I might be living in next year, inshallah. Inshallah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Asheera. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, and they can find my book on Amazon. So the book is called The Souk Surprise in Marrakesh, and it's part of the Nomadic Storyteller series, and it's available on Amazon. It is available on Book Depository and those places as well. You'll be able to find it.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to find all of the links, and I'm going to leave them in the description below. If you are listening to this interview on a podcast, you can find all of the links that are related to Asheera in the show notes. So, Asheera, thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom and for candidly sharing your self-publishing journey. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me part of your channel, and it's been a joy chatting with you and sharing the journey from the very beginning and sharing parts which I actually haven't really told many people about. So thank you so much for this experience.
If you found value in this video, make sure you leave me a thumbs up, comment below, let me know, share this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.